Bonhoeffer understood that you've got to do both. Of course, you have to pray. I know most people I'm talking to here, we get that. But Bonhoeffer could see that the church is going to have to rise up. So when Hitler takes power in 1933, Bonhoeffer is one of a few leaders in the church at a very young age to begin to process what does this mean for the church. And he tries, I would say prophetically, even though he didn't move in prophetic gifts as we might understand it, he tried to get the church leaders, the serious Christians, to understand that we must stand and we must oppose this. We cannot say, oh, Luther made it very clear, Romans 13, we have no business opposing the state. He said, this is going to be very tricky. Why? Because the Nazis had a view of reality which was not compatible with Christianity, and they were going to use their power, if they could get the power, to impose a fundamentally not just anti-Semitic, but anti-biblical, anti-Christian worldview in which mercy is replaced with cruelty. This is not hyperbole. Bonhoeffer could see this. And so it is, I think it's in 1934, forgive me, it may have been 33, but Bonhoeffer is assigned by these leading Christians to write about the church and the Jewish questions. What do we do? We've never been here before. Because now the state, Germany, the powers that be in the Nazi party had determined that they're going to see everything through a racial lens. Now, what if you'd never seen that before and you're a Christian? You think, well, is that compatible with Scripture? I guess, maybe, I don't know. Bonhoeffer, he does the theological work and he says, no. Now, it might be easy for us to say no, but Bonhoeffer in his day, nobody else was seeing this, that I'm a Christian, you're a Jew, we're different, whatever. Bonhoeffer does the work and he says, the church is called to be a voice for the voiceless, not just for ourselves, but for anyone who's being persecuted by the state. So we're supposed to be the conscience of the state and speak up, not say it's not my business. It's the call of the church to speak God's values into the public sphere and to the state, which is the government. It's our job. And it's also our job to protect those that the state is harming. So let's say the state is, whatever the state is doing, whatever the government is doing. Now, this obviously can apply everywhere. In the business sphere, we're supposed to look around and see what's happening and be God's hands and voice. Bonhoeffer is saying this to these church leaders. Many of them thought, well, we do church, we do theology, we do the religious stuff. We're not sure about this. He understood it and he made it very, very clear. We've all heard, some people are so heavenly minded, they're no earthly good. I know many Christians, they think that as a virtue, that they're so heavenly minded, they're no earthly good. And we've had some Christian heroes through the years in a way that have even had that. Bonhoeffer was the opposite. He said, I really know that when weak people are being crushed by strong people, I must speak. So he tries to wake up the church, but effectively fails. The liberals in the church had reasons for not listening, and the conservatives had their own reasons. The conservatives said, our job is to be pious and to pray, and we're not gonna, Hitler, he'll be a one-term president, right? Well, Bonhoeffer says, I believe that God is saying we need to speak up. And he tries and tries, and ultimately he fails. The church just doesn't get it. And the church was the only cultural power in Germany, had tremendous power, that if they had stood, they would have defeated National Socialism. Hard for us to imagine, but Bonhoeffer knew this. So he's not sure what he can do anymore. At some point, he kind of goes off to Zingst and Finkenwalde. He decides, I'm going to train up some seminarians, some young men of God who are going to live out their faith. That's the least I can do. I'm going to go off into the woods of Pomerania and into whatever. And I'm going to gather 30 or so young men who really want to know what it is to be a serious Christian. And what it means to pray, what it means to act, what it means to live out the faith, what it means to preach, whatever. So he does that for a while, but every month that passes, the Nazis get more power, and eventually they shut this down. And so part of the lesson of Bonhoeffer's life is that he says, you know, God is with me all the time. So circumstances don't matter. If the enemy does something, God has an answer every time.